Can y'all hear me? I can hear myself, so. All right, thank you all for having me. My name is Allison Osborne. I'm the expansion coordinator for Isaiah 117 House in Hawkins and Hancock County. I screw that up every time. I've been said Hambling County is what I started out saying all the time. Wrong. I'm going to start out with a little video from our founder, Rhonda Paulson, to kind of explain how we got started.
In 2014, I knew nothing about foster care. I didn't know what DCS stood for. I didn't know anything about the plight of the children as they enter the system. All I knew is that I was supposed to adopt. Week 7 of that foster care training, they had us meet in the Department of Children's Services. And we were sitting in a conference room, and there were no windows, and the gentleman leading the class said, when a child is removed from their home, they come here. And I looked around this room that was far from inviting, and I thought, surely he's wrong. And so I raised my hand and I said, I'm sorry, sir, but when you mean a child comes here, what do you actually mean? And he said, a little girl slept in this room last night. And in that moment, God said, these are my children. What are you going to do? How do you bring a child into your home? You can't halfway love a child. You're going to love them 100%. And even though you don't know that's in you, it is. And then the court call and say, they have to go back. That scared us to death. But I never will forget the moment that we both were like, it's not about us. This might not turn out the way we want it to turn out at all. But Isaiah still needs a moment today. And Isaiah still needs a daddy today. We had this moment and God showed up with joy, and God showed up and blessed our efforts, because that's what he's calling all of us to do, is get outside ourselves and get outside our fears. And when we do, when we stand in that place of unknown, that's where he is. And that's what we have for Foster Care. Every aspect of this community got behind and got excited about what if there was a home. So when we headed out into Carter County with this dream of what if there was a house, a few things happened. I got my first ever Facebook page when everybody on Facebook. So we started posting and sharing, and people started liking and sharing, and all of a sudden there was like this social media page right here in our little Carter County bubble. And then we decided to sell some t-shirts. We had 100 orders in 30 minutes. And I probably believed somewhere that this was a one-time, wow, Carter County, what a cool place to be. And then Greene County did the same thing. And then Washington County did it. And then Sullivan County did it. And now Blunt's doing it. And Rutherford and Knox. It's like, once the community is aware that not in some far-off land, not somebody else's children, the children of your community feel unloved and feel that there's unloved. And once the community is made aware, the entire community gets behind it. As we move forward, our mission stays the same. No child sits in a cubicle or a closet. No child feels alone or hopeless on that day of removal. That is our mission. And it started as a mission for No Child in Carter County. It's turned into a mission of no child throughout the state of Tennessee. And if I'm honest, and it scares me, it's a mission of no child anymore.
So this video is about 3 years old, I think. And since then, there are 11 open homes now. 9 of those are in Tennessee. There's 2 open homes in Indiana. And I think we're at 42 counties. I feel like the number is either 35 or 42, I should know, that are trying to bring Isaiah 117 houses to their communities. And that includes Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia, Indiana, Ohio, Texas, and Arizona. Did I get them all? So you see, it's started spreading outside of just Tennessee. You can look at a map of the state of Tennessee, and there's all the counties along the eastern end are either have a house or are trying to get a house right now. It skips the county at the bottom. I never remember what county it is, and then it starts again in the bottom of Middle Tennessee. That would be south. The south of Middle Tennessee, and goes all the way up to the Kentucky state line. And looking at the northeast region, Hawkins, Hancock County are the last counties in the northeast region of DCS to be getting an Isaiah 117 house. So that's, Sullivan, Greene, Washington, Carter all have houses. And Washington County, Virginia is getting ready to come on board with us. Also, about the video, she said that they were at an 8-week class. This is my favorite part of this story. I really wish she told it in the video. She tricked her husband into going to the class. She told him that they were going on a date night that night. So if your wife ever says, let's go on a date night to a church, it could be for foster care classes. I don't know, but that's what happened to him. So that's my favorite part of the story. She touches on the mission of an Isaiah 117 house, and it's not only there to reduce trauma for the child on removal day. That's our main mission, yes. That is ultimately what we're there for. But it's also to help lighten the load of the caseworker. Each house has a office in it that the DCS caseworker can sit in while they're doing the paperwork. And volunteers are, hanging out with the child, playing video games, feeding them, cooking with them, whatever the kid wants to do while they're in the house. And that frees the DCS worker up to do the paperwork needed. There is always a caseworker with the kid, so they're never left alone. They are ultimately the ones in charge at the house. We compare them to the mother and father. They're there to keep the rules. We get to be the fun aunt and uncle that don't have to worry about the rules. Mostly. We can do the fun stuff with them. And also we're there to ease the transition for foster parents. So a lot of these, foster parents may get a call in the middle of the night, or may have not have had a baby in years, or a teenager, and so they're not equipped. So, if they're getting that call, we can provide them with a car seat if it's a, child that needs a car seat, a crib, bedding, whatever it is that they need to make it easier for them to say yes to bring this foster child into their home. We're there to help with that, to provide all new whatever they need, basically. Every kid that enters into an Isaiah 117 house gets to leave with brand new stuff: clothing, shoes, toiletries. I feel like I'm missing stuff that they could be leaving with, but anything. They could be leaving with anything, but it's all brand new, and that's just so that the kids can feel that they're worthy of the new items. A lot of them have never had anything new in their entire lives, and so we just want them to know that they are worthy no matter what. A little bit about how I got involved, kind of long story. In 2020, I had met a family who had 2 foster daughters at the time. They've now adopted them. But I had no clue about anything about foster care. I knew it existed, had no clue what removal day was like. But the oldest one, she's 16 now, describes the day. They were set in the DCS office for 10 hours. It was a sibling group of 4. So she's there with, all her siblings in the DCS office for 10 hours, and she describes it as a true living hell. You can imagine you're sitting there, tile floors, fluorescent lighting, cubicles, couches, no TV, no shower. If somebody's happened to drop food by, then you'll have something that's not the vending machine to eat. I know some churches do provide meals at the office and places for showers, but that's not always a luxury that these kids are getting. So they're sitting there in the office, and I always say, if you work in a cubicle environment, which I do, just imagine sitting there on removal day and having to experience that. You know, we don't always agree with the circumstances these children have been in. Don't always, agree with the way their parents have been or whatever their circumstance is. But it's the only thing these kids have ever known. That's their life. And so to be taken from that by ultimately people they really don't know, and to sit at the DCS office sometimes for hours, sometimes for days. Like she said, they could sleep on an air mattress in the middle of a conference room. That's really traumatic for these kids. It's a day they don't forget. Where, if there's an Isaiah 117 house, they can come there and be greeted at the door with love. Our goal is to greet every kid at the door as soon as they walk in, with a smiling face. We'll provide them with whatever they want to eat. If it's a lot of kids, they come in and they've never had a home cooked meal, so they want a home cooked meal. But if it's teenagers, they'll want to help you cook it, and so you're doing that. Or we've got one, Arizona Henderson. She likes to come speak with us some. She's like, I just wanted Burger King, so they went and got her, Burger King when she was at the house. So it's just to provide these kids love, and they can take a shower and they can lay in a bed or on the couch and play video games or watch TV or whatever they want to do. We can be there to provide that for them, to say, to be the hands and feet of Jesus for them. That's the goal, is to show them the love of Jesus. That, these kids some of them have never known love from anyone in their entire life. And so if we can just be there on that removal day to let them know that they are loved and they are worthy, that's really, the goal, is to just change the narrative from it was living hell to I've never seen the love of Jesus like that. I met a gentleman a couple of months ago, and he volunteers at the Sullivan County House. And he said, his first child that he sat with, said he walked in and she wouldn't talk to him. She wouldn't make eye contact with him. He was like, okay, this is going well. Said she went up and she grabbed papers and she walked up to him and she said, before anything, I want you to see this. And she was a juvenile justice kid that had came in to house while she was waiting on placement at a facility. And he said, it was her charges. He said, I don't care what these papers say. That's not who you are. We all make mistakes. We've all done it. Your parents have done it. I've done it. Your caseworker's done it. We've all made mistakes. That's not who you are. And he just, handed them back to her. Didn't even look at them. And he said after that, she opened up to him, sat down, started talking to him. And there's two stories that I get confused. It was either she went back to her foster placement or she went home, or there's another story that's very similar. They went home to the foster. I've got two stories confused also. But anyways, he was able to really be that and show her that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what these papers say you are. This is who you really are. And so, without that interaction, she never would have seen that love, had anybody tell her that. Just totally lost myself on that one. Had been praying about where God wanted me to be in ministry. Had been praying about it for years. Thought I knew. It always revolved around kids of what I thought it was. And I was like, hey, no, that's not what I want to do. It's not what I want to do. Women, that's women's ministry. That's where I'm at. And it wasn't. So the summer of 2021, last summer, Misty, that's my partner in crime right here, she sends me a message and she's like, hey, I know what God wants you to do. And I was like, hey, why is God talking to you for me? But she said, you're supposed to open an Isaiah 117 house in Hawkins County. And I was like, that's a lot. And so I was like, okay, I'll pray about it. So I prayed about it, and 2 days later, I sent in the request of how to open an Isaiah 117 house in Hawkins County. And so over a year later, here we are. So, God's real funny like that. I was like, I don't know, still can't figure out why he was talking to her instead of me. But we're here. In 2019, I lost my mother that year. And so I know how hard it was for me at 37, however old I was at that time, to experience losing my mom. And so I can't imagine being, 17, 7 months old, being taken away from your mother, no matter how bad they were. I just can't imagine that pain. And so, if we can provide this for these kids to feel, to ease the pain a little bit, then it's totally worth everything that we're doing here. Made a trip around the world on here. I said God kept calling me to children's ministry, and I did it because nobody else was doing it. So, okay, yeah, I'll step in. Not thinking this isn't my calling, but, through several of the ministries, she's been in ministry with me all these times. He was sending us those that needed the love, that needed the attention, that, we saw how it changed them, for us to just talk to them, to us like they were human beings, and not a burden. And so seeing that, this is what we're doing. We're giving these kids the love and attention that they've so desperately been needing, that they've been asking for. If it's the juvenile justice kids, they may be acting out to get the attention from somebody, good or bad. They just want the love and attention. So, we're there to help that. Like I said, each kid leaves with brand new items, clothing, shoes, whatever they need. You ever walk into an Isaiah 117 house, which you'll be able to do in Hawkins County soon? I said, it's just like the house just hugs you when you walk in. Like, I've never felt loved by a house before. But we've been in all of the ones in Northeast Tennessee. And I think we got hugged by every single house that we walked into. The one in Sullivan County, is it the only new build? I think it's the only new build. All the rest have been remodeled houses. It's gigantic. Their entire upstairs is storage. And I want to say it's like as wide as this church is, of just walls of totes of storage of stuff that people have donated to them, that the kids get to go up there and go, okay, pick out what you want. And I've heard stories, they're like, what do you mean pick out what you want? It's like, you can have anything up here that you want. And they fill their duffel bag up with, and they go downstairs, and that's what they're sent on their way with. So it's been awesome to sit and watch God work in our county and hear the stories from other counties and how God has worked in their county and how God has worked through the kids. And like he was saying a minute ago, that little pink hair bow may be making a difference. In Arizona, when she tells her story, she talks about how she went in and they just sat and they played with her hair. And she was like 15 years old at the time, and that's what made the difference to her, was somebody taking the time out to play with her hair and fix it, maybe put a little pink hair bow in it. So it's just, we never know the impact that these houses can have on a kid and changing the way that the trajectory of their life is. So you may be asking how you can help now. Every day at 1:17 p.m., if you're awake at 1:17 a.m., then also, we set our alarms to pray. We pray for the children that are entering foster care, the foster families, the biological families, the caseworkers, and the volunteers that are in these houses. We can't do any of this without prayer, without God. He's been in all of it. Also, donations. I'm leery to say monetary donations, because if you've seen the Rogersville Review, County Commission just voted to give us $300,000 from the baby doe money. We're still waiting on that to go through all the approvals of the county. Once we get that, we get to hit the ground running. And I'm so excited about that. But we still need gift card donations for Walmart, Target, any fast food restaurants, any food restaurants that, we can take, or if it's right now just taking it to the DCS office and saying, here's some gift cards to go buy the kids something to eat. Yes. Yep. We can take cash also. And new items. Any new items, clothing from the size 0, newborn, 0. From newborn all the way up to like 2X, because majority of the kids that enter these houses are teenagers. I always like to think the cute little snuggly baby that I get to cuddle, but no, it's the teenagers, which I have a teenager at home and he's not snuggly, so I hesitate to say that. But my watch goes off constantly of the open houses that are getting kids in, and it's usually always teenagers. A kid can stay up to 3 days at a house. I was going somewhere with that.
You were talking about the clothing donation.
They can stay 3 days, yeah, because we're there for removal day. After that, they either go to placement, so foster placement, group home, or wherever they're going after that, or they'll go back to the office. But they can come back and eat and shower at the house after those 3 days. No, nothing over 18. There's some stuff in Hawkins County, I think, that caters to children over 18 that have aged out of the system, though. I was going somewhere.
You were talking about clothing donations. That's how you started that conversation.
Okay, thanks. She keeps me on track sometimes. It's hard. So yeah, teenagers.
Anything they need.
Yeah,
Bed,
anything.
crib, shampoo.
Yeah.
Anything you would need.
Right now we're using a bedroom and a church parsonage as our storage, so we don't have huge amounts of space, but we can still take donations now. We are in our awareness raising phase right now. So any group that you may be a part of that we can come speak to, promise I'll probably do better. We would love to come speak to them. Any civic organizations, Sunday schools, small groups, anywhere. Sewing clubs, gardening clubs, eating clubs. I like to eat. Any of that. Lemonade stands. I think you all hosted a lemonade stand during our lemonade challenge weekend. You can host lemonade stands any time of year. Hot chocolate stands, probably in the winter. And then you basically set up. You provide the lemonade. We don't charge for it. Donation only. And just kind of share the story as you provide lemonade, because we don't sell it. Is there anything there? Expansion meetings. I know where she's going next. Expansion meetings. We have expansion meetings normally the second Sunday of every month at 4 p.m. at East Rogersville Baptist. However, in October, that's where we came from today. In October, to get around fall breaks and stuff, it is October 23rd at 4 p.m. at East Rogersville Baptist. And that's where we kind of, can keep you updated on what's going on in the county. If we need help setting up with any of our events or anything. You can join one of our committees. We have t-shirt, lemonade events, DCS appreciation. DCS appreciation, we do provide a token of appreciation to the DCS office as close to the 17th of the month, every month as possible. Currently we have somebody that's covering every month, so January, if you want to do this in January, is our next open month, and I think we've had cookies delivered, office supplies, just whatever, you can let one of us know if you would like to sponsor a month. We have a luncheon coming up November 29th. We don't know yet if this is going to be a fundraiser luncheon, depending on if the county actually approves us, or if it's going to be a volunteer awareness, get people hopped up and involved luncheon. But it will be at the Sarah Barn. Have a 12 p.m. lunch and a 6 p.m. dinner. We need table hosts for that. All being a table host involves is saying, hey, I'll host a table, and you invite like 10 of your friends and hope 8 of them show up. And we're going to have Phil's Dream Pit barbecue that day and eat. And our founder, Rhonda, will be there. We have a volunteer from Sullivan County House that will be there, and I'll be speaking as well. You can sign up for the newsletter. You can do that on our page, or you can see one of us, and we can get you signed up for it. She tells me everything I forgot. Okay, I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions? We don't have a house yet. We don't have land or a house. We're still looking for that. So, yeah. For the house, it's for land, we're looking for between half an acre to an acre of land. It will have to be donated or sold. So it's not like we can just lease it for liability purposes. We do have to be the deeded owner of it. If something happened and we ceased to operate, we would have to donate it back to a 501c3 organization. Land or house, we would want between 1,500 to 2,000 square feet if a house was donated, and more than likely we would go in and totally renovate the inside, because we do have very specific needs that we're looking for. Each house, like I said, has an office for DCS, but also has visitation space, which is another DCS office, and like a little efficiency apartment, kind of studio apartment where so we can have a kid in the visitation space and in the main house at the same time. Or if bio parents have visitations planned with children that are in foster care, that they can use that space instead of using like a park or McDonald's or something to meet with the kids. No. If it's a sibling group, no. I have seen cases mixed in a house before, like 2 or 3. It depends on the age of the kids, the gender of the kids, kind of like what they're, if they have history with each other, kind of like why they're in DCS custody, and then it's up to DCS and basically our regional coordinator on if we think that they can be mixed in the house. But I think we've had a sibling group of up to 8 in a house before. There's 2 bedrooms, generally a boy's bedroom and a girl's bedroom, and that's, like I said, it's a huge space. So really, if we had a sibling group of 13 come in, we would take all 13 in. Do what? Yeah. If there's availability, they, so if Hawkins County kid was removed and we'd already had a Hawkins County kid that was there for their removal day and they couldn't mix and visitation space was full, they can use any of the other open houses in the area. So you're not just in your county, it's not like you're just focused on your county. So it's any open house they can use. And so if they were, if the house ends up being, I don't know, up towards Burgonsville or something, and a kid in Mooresburg gets removed, Hamlin County may be closer, so they could go to the Hamlin County house. No funding. DCS, once we, we'll have some input on like land, if land comes up, of if they think it would, is a good location. or whatever, but as far as funding, no funding is mixed between the two. Yeah, we'll take stuff to them and provide, for DCS caseworker, we'll feed them, but as far as any funds from the state or any us funding anything they do, there's no cross like that. Any way that they have construction knowledge, basically. I think we have a general contractor on board, so once it comes up, we'll be looking for people to do everything involved in the house. Once we get under roof, walls or studs get up, not necessarily walls, we'll schedule a day to come in and everybody can pray over the house, write scripture on the studs. I feel like there's a different word they use. And everything. Once the house is involved, to volunteer, you don't have to volunteer to be with the kids. If you're like, I really want to volunteer, but my heart can't handle sitting with the kids, you can come mow, you can come organize storage, you can clean, you can provide meals. We have so many, like anything that involves taking care of a house, then you can help with any of it. So it doesn't have to volunteer. You don't have to be there with the kids, because I know some people are said, I really want to be involved, but I don't have the heart to be the kids. And if it's clerical work or anything like that. And as far as a church, I always think backpack churches is what comes to mind every time. As a church, you all are like, oh, we really want to, take a, Rhonda always uses Undie Sunday as an example. There's a church, 1 month they'll do on Sunday, it's like new packs of underwear, and then those are donated, or socks, or backpacks, duffel bags, toiletries, anything. That's a good way to get involved also. But yeah, as far as once we start construction, right now, when people are like, I want to volunteer, I'm like, okay. We don't have huge volunteer opportunities right now. It's, if we're setting up an event, hey, if you want to come hang out with us and set up there, that's great. But yes, you can go ahead and sign up to be a volunteer, and I'll have your information to contact you once we get to where we're really needing volunteers. But yeah, once we get started on construction, we'll start needing all of the volunteers we can get. Yes, and we'll have we'll feed contractors somehow. Once we get the funds that we need, contractors breakfast, to get everybody signed on and saying, yes, I'll provide this, or yes, I'll provide that. Any other questions? All right, thank you all.